We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Get the queries off your chest with Ahkam SOS.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Before we begin, we'd like to send our congratulations to the Muslim Ummah and also to the Imam of our time for the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan. So Shah Ramadan Mubarak to you all. This season, inshallah, over the next blessed month, Ahkam SOS will be here on Imam Hussein TV 3 live every day at 6 p.m. And this will give you guys the opportunity to interact with us and to send in your questions. Now, if you have any questions you would like us to answer or discuss, please send it in via the WhatsApp, the email address ahkamsos@imamhussein.tv, or alternatively, give us a call here in the studio, 0203 515 0199. Myself and the Sheikh will be more than happy to discuss and inshallah answer your questions. I'm your host, Mohsin Shah, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Maash. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Shah Ramadan Mubarak to you, Sheikhna.
To you as well, inshallah.
I hope you're well.
To the viewers as well, inshallah.
Definitely. I hope your fast is going well, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Sheikhna, let's start off with the month of Ramadan because it is a special month. A lot of people make resolutions. They want to create new habits and increase their spirituality. So, similar to in the West when they have New Year's resolutions, how does that compare with the holy month of Ramadan for Muslims and for Islam?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. It's an honor to be in this blessed month again and to be able to perform this great worship, this great ibadah, and that is fasting, and to be given this opportunity to invoke Allah Azza wa Jal during the nights of the holy month of Ramadan again. And it's a great blessing, although we have been into the second year of the COVID and the situations and the people in which passed away, the marhumeen, that we have to remember inshallah in this holy month, and as well to remember also that we will also face the same fate inshallah in the prolonged years, and that we'll face also the hereafter, so we have to be ready for it. Basically, what you have asked about the resolution for this holy month. Of course, when we look at the books and the writings and the works and the statements of our great ulama, we see that they emphasize a lot on the fact of the self-purification and self-building, basically.
I think that's really important, Sheikhna, because, with us as Muslims, we're always trying to develop and improve ourselves and our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And, we have Muharram, we have Dhul Hijjah and Safar, and we have all of these other months and all of these other opportunities for us to reflect on ourselves and I hope improve. As you know, there's a hadith from Imam Ali alayhi salam that the believers, his Iman is up here and then down here and up here. And on certain days it's very, very high. On certain days it's challenged and it goes low. And I pray for all of the viewers that it always remains high, inshallah. So we are not perfect. We are human beings, and we also make mistakes and we have setbacks and we fall back. So Shah Ramadan is a really, really good chance for us to first of all change our habits of eating. So eating is halal, and it is for most of us is mandatory. Without food we can't live. So to change our habits, something halal that we do all the time, to make it haram, or to forbid ourselves from doing it, maybe that's a way for us to start to understand and refrain from other sins. Don't you think so?
Indeed, I mean, as mentioned just earlier, that self-purification is what we need in this holy month of Ramadan. And as mentioned just recently by the speeches of Ayatollah Shirazi on the forthcoming of holy month of Ramadan last Friday, on his speech, emphasizing on the self-purification, tazkiyatun nafs, in which he mentioned that it is wajib aini. In other words, to purify yourself is wajib on every individual, adult individual, to make sure that they purify themselves from all bad habits and the evil doings and so forth. So the one should start in this holy month to practice the act of self-building and self-purification, as mentioned in the kutub of the akhlaq, tahliya wa takhliya. In other words, to purify and also to build, to add on. If you don't have, let's say, some of the, let's say, moral virtues, and you add them into yourself. If you don't have sabr, you try to observe patience and sabr, and so forth. And of course, it's a great month for us to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, again by the ibadat, by the acts of worship, well, the wajib aside, the mustahabbat, if we can elevate to the levels of mustahabbat by practicing the a'mal of mustahab in this holy month. Great opportunity for us to perform the mustahabbat, such as the recitation of Holy Quran, the du'as in the nights of holy month of Ramadan, special prayers. There are every night there's special prayer to perform, salah, mustahab every night. If you can refer back to the book of Mafatih al-Jinan, you'll find all these a'mal in that book. And of course, when piety is mentioned, taqwa is mentioned, it means to perform the wajib acts and to refrain from the forbidden acts. That's taqwa, that's piety, in which in the Holy Quran mentions لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So there's taqwa is mentioned in the Holy Quran, that we need this piety to be observed in our life. And the main thing is to refrain from the haram and to obtain and gain and perform the wajib acts. And that requires what? To have some knowledge, to read, to find, to ask those who know in this field. And of course, the emphasis should be made on the young people as well. The young people should basically try to learn from the past great leaders or ulama, or even the prophets and awliya, how they restrained themselves and protected themselves from the acts of haram. We see, for example, the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, this great prophet of Allah, in which he was in a state of difficulty in terms of, he was facing, the devil, the shaitan, on the other side, to deceive him to commit the act of haram with Zulaykha, with this woman. But Allah Azza wa Jal protected his prophet, because he was a pure and an individual who had a great means of self-purification and self-building. So he refrained from the act of haram, and Allah Azza wa Jalla gave him a great reward in dunya and akhirah, of course. So our youth should learn from Yusuf alayhi salam how to protect themselves from the haram, how to face the devil, how to face the shaitan, the evil, the nafs al-ammara, the ego, to be able to defeat this enemy, in which is trying its best to destroy the mankind from from the right path, to take away from the right path, deviate. So basically the youth should work very much in this holy month to gain as much as they can from the moral virtues, the acts of wajib, perform them. If they had acts of haram, to refrain from the haram, to stay away from haram. It's a good month for one to stop those bad habits and haram. If I used to, for example, used to backbite others, slander others, and so forth, lie, then I have to stop it in the holy month of Ramadan. It's a good opportunity and a training session and month for the one to quit and stop such forbidden acts, watching, let's say, movies or films in which there are inappropriate and immoral scenes in that movie. And you can't say, I can watch everything. You can't. There are some scenes which are immoral and forbidden to watch, and so forth. So everyone basically should be able to close the door to the Satan, the shaitan. That's the best thing. To close the door. Whenever he wants to open the door, you have to close it, so he cannot penetrate and deceive this believer this moment.
I see. Excellent. Shaykhna, are there any statements or any hadith from our infallible imams in regards to the du'as during the holy month of Ramadan and the duties and the a'mal and everything? Like, what is our main duty and our main purpose during the holy month of Ramadan?
Of course, when we look at the narrations of Ahlulbayt alayhim salam, the Holy Prophet himself sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, we'll find that there's a lot of emphasis made that what should the one do in this holy month. And of course, there are ad'iyah, lots of ad'iyah as I mentioned in the holy month of Ramadan, the acts of worship, mustahab worship, and so forth. But there's the other side of the emphasis and statements. For example, when we look at the book of the treatise on rights, or the Risalat al-Huquq of the Imam As-Sajjad Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, the Imam speaks about the rights of the fasting. What is the right? I am, as an individual, as a believer who now observe fasting, what are the rights? The Imam Salamullah alayhi says, وَأَمَّا حَقُّ الصَّوْمِ فَأَن تَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ حِجَابٌ ضَرْبَهُ اللَّهُ. And to know that the right of fasting is that Allah Azza wa Jal has put a veil or a curtain or a screen He set up over your ala lisanik, your tongue. When you fast, make sure that your tongue also fasts, according to some narrations. وَسَمْعَك, again, when you fast, make sure that your hearing also fasts as well. So that's the right of the fast for your body parts. So your tongue, your hearing, your ears. وَبَصَرِك, and your eyes as well. Make sure that you put some kind of screen or veil or protection against your basar, your sight. When you look at the opposite gender, if it's non-mahram, haram, you cannot look with lust, and so forth. So these are, as the Imam calls them, hijab, as a veil, as a cover, to avoid the acts of haram by these body parts, in other words. Then the Imam says, وَفَرْجِكَ وَبَطْنِكَ, and your private parts as well, to protect them from the haram, and your stomach as well, to protect from eating the haram or even breaking your fast intentionally with no reason, with no excuse. Why there are rights on my body parts when I'm fasting? The Imam says, Salamullah alayh, لِيَسْتُرَكَ بِهِ مِنَ النَّارِ, in order to protect you from the hellfire. This holy month is there to protect us from the hellfire, to teach us how to be a true believers and to practice this piety in this holy month, the best month. Then the Imam says, وَهَكَذَا جَاءَ فِي الْحَدِيثِ الصَّوْمُ جُنَّةٌ مِنَ النَّارِ, and the Imam says that, as it is narrated in the hadith, and fasting is a shield against fire, is a shield to protect you from the hellfire. So when we look at for example, the role of the tongue or lisan while we're fasting, how can we restrain or protect the lisan or the tongue from the act of haram. A man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, and he said, Awsini, O Prophet of Allah, advise me, admonish me. The Prophet repeated this sentence many times. He said, Ihfadh lisanak, protect your tongue. Don't say anything that comes into your mind. You have to make sure that you think before you say anything. And this is the best time. The holy month of Ramadan is to ponder and reflect that what can I say and what can't I say? Am I allowed to say anything I want? I have to reflect and ponder. Then the Holy Prophet ﷺ, he saw that this man is insisting on to have more advice. He thinks that this advice is not enough for him. So the Prophet ﷺ, he says to him, وَهَلْ يَكُبُّ النَّاسِ عَلَى مَنَاخِرِهِمْ فِي النَّارِ إِلَّا حَصَائِدُ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. Is there anything else than what throws people into the hellfire except the consequences of their tongue, the result of what they say as a result? So the important role of the tongue is that it could lead the one towards the hellfire. Na'udhu billah. How many people with a few words they caused a whole family to break up? With few words they actually made a husband to divorce his wife with no reason. Rumors, people try to, slanders and so forth. So we have to be careful that in this holy month try to restrain and try to protect our tongue from what is nonsense and even the haram as well. So the best month to reflect and ponder on. Imam Sujjad Salamullah alayhi also mentions in his Risalat al-Huquq, the Treatise of Rights, he says, وَأَمَّا حَقُّ اللِّسَانِ, what is the right of my tongue now? وَأَمَّا حَقُّ اللِّسَانِ فَإِكْرَامُهُ عَنَ الْخَنَى, is to bless this tongue by avoiding repulsive and evil and harsh language, and to make sure that you don't speak something that causes bad results on the other side. وَتَعْوِيدُهُ عَلَى الْخَيْرِ, the right of your tongue that you give it habits of saying good things rather than evil and bad things. وَحَمْلُهُ عَلى الْأَدَبِ, to teach this tongue to be polite to others, have some kind of manners when you speak to others. That's the important thing about the what relates to the tongue. I think the time is short. I'll inshallah complete the rest tomorrow, inshallah.
Ahsant, inshallah, Shaykh. We were really eager to learn more. Shaykh, you were mentioning the holy month of Ramadan and the beginning, and we were talking and discussing the rights of the fast and so forth. This month of Ramadan was established by the previous month, Sha'ban having 30 days rather than us seeing the new moon. What other ways are there to establish the holy month of Ramadan?
Well, to establish the holy of Ramadan, as you mentioned, is to have the complete 30 days of Sha'ban. When the one can't see the moon sighting, they can't see actually the hilal, the crescent, then they have to complete another day, the 30th day of Sha'ban, and then start the fast on the next day, which is the first of the holy month of Ramadan. Otherwise, if somebody is able to see and do the sighting for the moon himself, and he knows the measurements and the description of the hilal, of the crescent in detail, then he can actually, if he sees it, then he can actually fast. There's no issue with it. Otherwise, if there are groups of trustees or trustable people, the ones who you can actually trust them in terms of their sayings, who can go and see, and this happens every year, especially with the office of the ulama. They send trusted people, mu'mineen, who know the ahkam of the sightings and so forth, and they come back to the office of their marja and give the report to the marja himself that we saw the crescent with this description and so forth. So in this case, the second option or the third option, you can actually rely on those individuals who saw the moon, and of course the marja who will issue the aspects of the sighting, and issue that the first day is that particular day because of the sightings of those individuals.
Excellent. A quick reminder to all our viewers that this is a live show. We do take in your questions. If you have a question you'd like to ask, send it via the WhatsApp, the email address, or alternatively, give us a call 0235150199. Inshallah, we'll be able to discuss and answer your question. And we have a question from one of our viewers, Shaykhna, which is, can I do my niyat in advance for future days to fast?
You have two options in terms of making the intention and niyyah for the fasting. Number one, you can do it every night. So whenever you have your suhoor, or before or after, just before Adhan al-Fajr, you do your niyyah every night that I'm fasting the coming day, the following day, and that's it. You did your duty in terms of the intention. However, you can also make the intention of the whole month of Ramadan on the eve of the first day. The eve of the first day of the holy month of Ramadan, that I make intention of fasting the whole month. In this case also you can make this intention, fasting the whole month.
Awesome. Shaykh, what if one falls asleep before Fajr Adhan without making the intention and wakes up before the Dhuhr Adhan time? Can he make the niyyah then, and can he keep the fast?
Yes, I mean the fast is valid for both the mustahab and the wajib, like the holy month of Ramadan. That's fine as long as they have woken up just before the Dhuhr time. That's fine.
Okay. Shaykhna, what is the opinion of His Eminence the Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani, Hafidhullah, in regards to someone who breaks the fast thinking it is not obligatory for him to fast?
This usually happens to the newly adolescents or the newly the boys and girls who start to fast, basically. In overall, ala kulli hal, the Sayyid mentions that if this individual was certain that the fasting is not wajib on him, is not obligatory for him, so he thinks that maybe fasting is just like a mustahab act, for example, and he broke it. So he didn't think that fasting is like the prayers, daily prayers, it's wajib. Then the Sayyid mentions that there's no kafara and no fidya for this individual, and only qada required to be done afterwards.
I see. Shaykh, what is the time for declaring the intention of fasting?
The intention basically starts from the beginning of the night until the just by the before the Fajr Adhan. So make sure that you have the intention by the Fajr Adhan, because if there's no intention after the Fajr Adhan, it's problematic. So make sure that you make the niyyah after the the Maghrib Isha prayer for the next day, till you have time till the Fajr time. Make sure that you have this niyyah intention made.
Inshallah. Shaykh, a final question for this evening, and that is, with pizza bases, it was any food really, but this in particular pizza base, sometimes they have ethyl alcohol used for flavoring or for preserving or whatever, for preservation. That obviously evaporates in the oven when it's being cooked and so forth. Is it halal to consume that pizza?
Initially, you have to find out if this alcohol is the type of intoxicating or non-intoxicating. Because if it's non-intoxicating, which means it doesn't make you drunk, or that type of drinks, it's just a normal alcohol, or known as industrial alcohol, which is found in medicines, in other products, which is tahir. There's no issue with it, and also allowed to consume if it's a small amount. Some maraja say if it's 2%, then you can consume. More than that, you have to mix it with water and so forth.
But that's an industrial alcohol. That's not the actual intoxicating alcohol, which is.
So it depends. I mean, the brother should go back and see if this type of alcohol is.
I think with ethyl alcohol, especially, I think it is intoxicating. So yeah, try and stay away. Thank you very much, Sheikhna, for all your efforts and then all your your work that you're doing. Inshallah, we're going to be back tomorrow. So join us tomorrow, inshallah, where myself and the Sheikh will be back to discuss more in regards to Ramadan fiqh. If you have any questions, please send in your questions via the WhatsApp, the email address, or give us a call tomorrow, inshallah, 0203 515 0199. We'll be here from 6 p.m. on Imam Hussein TV 3. See you then and have a very, very nice and blessed Ramadan and iftar, inshallah. Fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
We question our daily position, seeking answers and definitions. Gather queries of your chest with Ahkam SOS.